Bear with me, y'all. I'm gonna get started right here shortly. Let's see if I can get my microphone plugged up. Take care of the audio. All right, Shalom. It's your brother Yonathan. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters pursuing this truth in sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your house. Today, maybe we're going to talk about how the Lord was going to supersede the predicaments, all right, the perils that we're put in. There's examples all throughout the scriptures where men of the Lord, believers, were put in situations that were like, man, how do you escape? How do you deal with that? But the Lord always provided a way. The whole world's about to be put in a tight spot. And the only people who are going to be able to be still and have composure are going to be those who are cleaving unto Yahweh Shai. To those people that their natural defense mechanism is to cleave unto the Lord. Hey, Shalom, Elder Micah. If I'm not mistaken, yep, that's your page. All right, so the first precept I want to go to is I'm going to go to 2nd Ezra 15. We're going to lay the setting first. 2nd Ezra 15 and 15. It says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there should be sedition," keep that word in mind, "sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Okay, so this is going into a complete civil breakdown of the normal infrastructure of how things go, because people are going to go, they're going to grow, well, they're already growing. Distrust for the powers that be. It's being revealed that they're bought and paid for by the small hats. It's being revealed that they're corrupt. It's being revealed that they're in the forefront of child trafficking. You know, you got to be careful. You can't even talk about that on YouTube. They'll fucking flag your video if you call them out on them fucking with the kids. So sedition, that's the course that we're on. Trump, you know, he wants to forward that Insurrection Act, which is martial law, which the scriptures speak on, which that's what we're reading about. You got all these people who, you know, who call themselves truthers, call themselves warning the people. Got a lot of people who they say things that are true, but nobody has the full understanding of how it's all going to play out and how to escape it and what it's leading to, besides the prophets. Odo Yatzazak says it all the time. The Bible is for the prophets and everybody else just has one. There's going to be a lot of people who are saying things that are true. But what's really going to divert people's attention to the prophets in the days to come is when that violence, they come face to face with it. Because, yeah, they're talking about it. They know what's happening. But the only people who are going to have an answer to it, and the only people who are going to be able to navigate it, and the Lord's going to have it to where people are going to realize, oh, the Lord is with these guys. People's attention is going to be diverted to the men of the Lord in that day, because they're going to realize, oh, these are the guys that had the answers all along. That's why man of the Lord is going to be as fine as gold in that day, because people are going to know this. This man is attached to the Son of God. He's attached to Yahweh Shai. Maybe if I could just attach to him, maybe that covering could fall onto me. That's why man is going to be as fine as gold, because the Lord's going to make it known that he's dealing with particular individuals in the earth, and that they have the answers to navigate the chaos that's about to ensue. All right, I'm going to read this again. 2nd Ezra 15, starting at 15. "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, Can you hear me now? I wonder how much was heard. Can you hear me now? Guess my microphone died. Okay, was it out for long? I'm trying to, because I said a lot. Let me see. What did I just mention? I said a lot of the opposition that's being propped up, like you got these guys who calling themselves the Black Panthers now. Remember the original Black Panthers? Were they about protecting all the people? Or were they about protecting, their people, the so-called blacks, right? This guy is being propped up. He's talking about protecting everybody, and I'm going to put a hold of the dice. A lot of the opposition is bought and paid for. But you're going to have some people who are standing up, and they think that this is their fight, and they're not going to be set up. You're going to have people with fringes on out there, getting involved in this bullshit. Now, understanding that this isn't our fight. We're not fighting for America to continue on. But you have a lot of Jake, that line is blurred for them of what this fight is all about. We're advocates for the kingdom of heaven to be established on earth. You understand? We're not advocates for, this place to continue on. We're not advocates to build something here for ourselves. The Lord didn't commission us to do that. But as the elder Yashawamba, he said this a couple years ago, and it stuck with me. He said, a lot of these other groups, a lot of these people who, call themselves Israelites, the Lord set them up to be shields in that day for the elect. And I concur. I agree. I see it. A lot of these people who don't get the fullness of what we're advocating for, they're going to get caught up in this bullshit, and the Lord's going to use them as a shield to cover us. It's going to be a contrast. Let's go to 2 Ezra 16 and 70. It says, "For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle." And that always catches me there. It says being idle, so it's I-D-L-E. Like you're running your car, it's idle. It's not moving. It's not doing anything. Being idle with things offered unto idols, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision. It makes me think, man, people that are half-stepping, the Lord's going to bring some situations upon them, man. And they're not going to have a way to escape. Now, we're all going to be put in situations, but the Lord is always going to make a way for the elect to escape. Anybody that ever puts their trust in the Lord, he always offers a way for them to escape. Let's go, I like that in 1 Maccabees 2 and, is it 61? Let me go check it really quick. 1 Maccabees 2 and 61. It says, "And thus consider ye throughout all ages that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. Fear not then the words of a sinful man, for his glory shall be dung and worms." We know that this man that's ruling has an end. We know that he loses at the end. We know that he's going to have a time where he's like a madman sparing none, and we're about to read that. We know there's going to be a coordinated effort to come against the believers, and some of us may be martyrs. We understand all of that. But we also understand that death isn't final. We also understand that the dead in Yahushua should be raised up first. We also understand that there has to be some people who never tasted death because they have to be beamed up and looking down, changed, and then looking down to the bottom of the chariots at the destruction of Babylon the Great and other particular areas of the earth. We understand there's a sequence of events that has to take place. We understand before World War III, the mark of the beast has to go down. We understand these different things, so we're able to see clearly as all this chaos, all this havoc is happening. This happened over there, this happened. People, you can get caught up in so much to where a person without the Spirit, they can't see clearly. They can't even think straight, but we're able to composure in the midst of all of this. Like it talks about, let me go get it. Wisdom and knowledge, stability of thy time. This is Isaiah 33 and 6. It says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and the strength of salvation, and the fear of the Lord is his treasure." Okay? So we're in a very, very special place, knowing what we know. Being able to see what we see. Okay? Continuing on back to 2 Ezra 16 and 70. It says, "For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle, with things offered unto idols. All right. Eleazar was put in a similar situation, well, exact situation, man. When they were Hellenized, and when the Greek came and they were Hellenizing our people, forcing them over to the pagan fashion, Eleazar, being an upright man, a man of high reputation amongst the people, all right, was arrested and told, hey, eat this pork in front of the people. You know, we'll let you go. And you know what? It doesn't even have to be pork. Just make it look like you did it. Make it look like you defiled yourself and you went along with our program. There are going to be people who are set up amongst the, you know, church, seemingly, supposedly leaders. And you already seeing it a little bit already. Look at Genesis, Pegasus and his boys, his whole crew. There are going to be people who they put in front of you and say, hey man, this guy's doing it. He's going along with the person. This isn't a bad thing to do, to conform to what we're pushing. That's why all these other groups, man, they never certainly say what that mark is. They always tap dance around it, try to leave themselves an out. But it's getting to a point to where, you know, even people within these other groups and congregations that are watching these guys, they're realizing that their leaders are full of shit. Now, if they stay there, that's on them to get destroyed. That's on them to continue to be led astray. And that means that they're not sincere. To know somebody's bullshitting and playing with the word of God, and for you to stay there, they're not warning you. They're not preparing you for the Jacob's trouble. They're not preparing you for the test that we all have to endure. Because, again, this isn't a group test. Each of us that go through the perils that we're going to go through, it's not a group test. You got to be on point. And there's a lot of people who know they're Israelites, man. They're not taking their salvation serious. All right, let's continue on here. It says, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden under foot. For there shall be in diverse places and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Okay, so this insurrection in diverse places and in the next cities, it speaks to a widespread and coordinated effort against those that fear Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Because right now, they still kind of trying to put us in the category with conspiracy theorists or the right wingers, and they try to put us in these categories. But it's going to get to the point to where they're going to have to outright acknowledge these are the primary people that we want to get. It's going to come to a point that, man, Jake is going to be singled out. The Jake that's calling himself an Israelite is going to come to a point that where they're singled out specifically. And there's going to be a coordinated effort against those people. And now, we don't have the nitty-gritty details on how that's going to look, but we've been given examples throughout the scriptures in the past. You know what I mean? Especially in the times to come. We know that food is going to be scarce. Resources are going to be scarce. There's artificial famines they're going to create. There could be bounties put on men's head. Hey, if you know somebody, if you know this man, you know these people, you know, we'll give you credits. We'll give you this, you know, we'll give you this comfort if you can help us find them. And we're not trying to do nothing. We're trying to help these people. They're going to paint it out as though they're doing. Yeah, man. That's why you're going to have the children giving up the parents. You're going to have, you know, the parents giving up the children. You're going to have family members turning on you. You're going to have all kind of bullshit going on. A lot of betrayals getting ready to go down. But even knowing that, you know the scripture said that's bound to happen. So you'll be able to, you know, it's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to feel good. Don't get me wrong. But we're going to understand why these things are happening, and that nothing happens unless the Lord commissioned it to be so. Imagine what Joseph went through when he was sold by his brothers. The frustration that you're going to be put in situations that are hard to deal with. But remember, the solution to everything is always just cleaving unto the Lord. Cleaving unto his example. Okay? Now, it talks about like madman sparing none. This is going into the spirit of rage that's going to be on people. People are about to lose everything. They're about to lose all their comforts and dainties that they grew accustomed to here in America. Everything that makes people feel good or comfort, you know, it's about to be stripped from them. These people are going to be willing to do anything to get a sense of that normalcy back. To get a, you know, to gratify their flesh during the time of trouble, man. They're going to be willing to do whatever. Giving you up is going to be nothing. Coming against, you know, the Lord's men, it's going to be nothing to them. And they're going to be in a rageful spirit, man, because they're going to be so frustrated about not being able to gratify their flesh the way that they used to. And it's going to be spent to these people, to the masses, that the reason, the cause for all of it are the believers in Yahushua. Okay? So you can't be like Lot's wife, man, to where you feel so tied to particular things in this world. No, we're advocates for the world to come. You see, Lot's wife, she was possessed by her possessions, which is why she looked back. Okay, it's 2nd Ezra 16 and 40, and it's all because this is going to go into the restriction of movement that's also getting ready to take hold of this place. But the Lord, again, he always offers roundabouts away there, and we're going to get some of those examples as we go along. All right, 2nd Ezra 16 and 40 says, "Hear now these things, and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. Behold," let me get it in my other app. Galatians 16 and 40. 2nd Ezra 16 and 40. All right, it says, oh, yeah. It says, "O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth." So we're instructed to be as pilgrims upon the earth, meaning you got to be in the spirit where you're willing to go from place to place, that you're not tied down to anything. The elect are going to be delivered because they love not their own lives unto death. They're not attached to anything that this devil has built up. They're attached to something greater. You see? 2nd Ezra 16 and 40. "O my people, hear my word, make ye ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose." All right, so, you know, whatever possessions or things you may have, or businesses you may have, or endeavors you're involved in, you're willing to drop it at the drop of a hat to fulfill the real mission that you're striving towards. All right, you're building your riches in the kingdom of heaven, like it talks about in Matthew the 6th chapter. Okay, verse 42. "He that occupieth merchandise is he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth is he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth as if he shall not reap. So also he that planted the vineyard is he that shall not gather grapes." And it just keeps on going. Let me go get the precept I want. Because it's going to come a time, man, where you're going to have to drop everything. And just have to depend on the Lord for your daily bread. And there's brothers that necessarily don't have too much attached things or possessions in this world. Well, they're already at that stage. And there's some of you who are not. There's some of us who do have things in this world, but you gotta be in the spirit to understand, hey bro, I got this for right now. Tomorrow I may not have these things. And you gotta be okay with that. The elect are gonna be in that spirit. To be okay with losing things in this world and understanding the Lord has something much bigger for them. Because we're all getting ready to have to really separate from this world and this life. It's real. We wasn't just talking about it. It's actually going to be a choice that you're confronted with. You're going to have to separate from your possessions, from people, from places. That's the reality that we're a part of. 2nd Ezra 15 and 17, going back just to get the I didn't read this verse yet. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So there's going to be restriction of movement of the people. And the devil wants that restriction of movement. He wants to, have a pinpoint on where everybody is, so that when he comes with this mark, he can control the people. It's hard to, it's the plan he wants to accomplish. It's damn near impossible to accomplish if you can't keep track of where everybody's at. If you don't have control over movement, right? If people don't need you to survive. In order for him to accomplish this plan, people have to need him for survival, which is why the elect are so dangerous, because they understand that they don't need this devil. We understand that we lean on the Lord for our protection, for our sustenance, okay? But he had to get control over all the resources. People always talk about, oh, why would somebody do that? Why would somebody poison the water? Why would somebody, be cut down? Why would they do? They need to have control over every facet of life to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. To be like the Most High, you have to have control over everything. So they have to have control over everything so that people look at him as the Most High. They look at him for salvation. Okay? So the restriction of movement is a big thing that he wants to accomplish. And that's what's coming with this martial law. That's what's coming with them going door to door, and they're gonna be setting up checkpoints and things like that. That's what's going down. All right? But again, the Lord is gonna always make an escape for the believers. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. Pull this scripture up. Zephaniah 2. And I'm going to start at the top at verse 1. It says, gather yourselves together. Yeah, gather together, O nation not desired. The nation not desired, the nation that's looked at as a bastard upon the earth, will be the nation of Israel. Before the decree bring forth, before the day passes the shaft, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you. All right, and the day passing is the shaft, because this place is going to be burned with fire via the ICBM missiles. Okay? There's a particular way that Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, gets destroyed, okay, via fire. Ancient Babylon, okay, and this is how you could tell the difference. Whenever the scripture is going into Babylon being destroyed by fire, it's talking about that future kingdom to come, because ancient Babylon wasn't destroyed in that fashion. It was simply transferred over. It was just taken over, absorbed, okay? But the Babylon we're in is going to be destroyed via fire. Also, the chariots are going to be getting busy on this place. All right, Zephaniah 2 and 2. Before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you, seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. And we desire to be hid in the day of the Lord's anger, not to be caught up in it. And the elect are going to be hid. We're going to witness a lot. We're going to witness all of it. But we're going to be hid. I think when you go into that standard being lifted up, one of the definitions in that word for standard is to be hid or to disappear. So we're going to be protected. Let's go to Zephaniah, the 3rd chapter. Read verses 12 and 13. It says, I will also leave in the midst of these an afflicted and poor people, and they shall trust in the name of the Lord. The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity nor speak lies. They're not going to have any guile in their speech. When you go to Revelation, the 14th chapter, it talks about the elect men who were teachers, that they will have no guile, meaning their words were pure. There was no deceit, hidden agendas in the words that they spoke. We're simply forwarding the will of the Lord. We're forwarding his message. We're forwarding his will in the earth. That's it. We're not getting any carnal gain from this. All of our gain is in the spirit. Okay? Nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth. And this is a good precept to go to match up with Revelation 14 and 5. Neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth, for they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. All right, so again, there's always going to be a way for us to escape. We're going to be taken care of in the midst of the chaos. Now I want to go continue on here. So just keep reading. And now I'm going to go to Isaiah 26. I'm going to go to Isaiah 26 and 20. I could have kept reading there because there's more on that, but I want to make it precise and just get straight to it. Isaiah 20. Oh, my slack is Isaiah 26 and 20. All right, that's what I'm looking for. Isaiah 26 and 20, it says, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers." There's going to come a point where the elect of the nation of Israel, those that believe, those that walked in the way that the Lord commissioned them to, are going to be delivered physically out of this place. You can also go to Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, for this illustration. But we're going to actually be taken up out of the destruction when it gets too hot. It says, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers," the chariot, "and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed." Because this place is going to be completely, what's the word? Annihilated. But decimated is just a tenth. You know, Pastor Hart got on us about that. He said, decimated is, no, you're going to use this. The whole thing's going to be destroyed. So annihilated. All right? Like it talks about in the book of Revelation, the 10th part of the city fell, meaning it was completely destroyed. And America's broken up into 10 FEMA regions, 10 zip codes. This place is going to be completely destroyed and wiped off of the earth, and it's going to be a memorial, just like Sodom and Gomorrah was, a memorial unto everybody on the earth, unto what the end result of those are that walk ungodly, that walk in a perverted way. That's going to be the end. It's going to be like a banner. Hey, this is what happens when you cleave unto evil. All right, verse 21. "For behold, the Lord," this is Isaiah 26 and 21. "For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain." Great judgment is coming to the earth. And we don't want to get caught up in it. All this bullshit that's going on, they're going door to door, ICE, and they're trying to push the Insurrection Act, and it's going to be that isn't our fight. That's not for us to get involved in. There might be instances where you have to defend yourself, but you'll know when that time comes. But to just go out of your way to get involved in this bullshit, it's not your fight. It's not our fight. All right, so I'll probably do a part 2 to this. This is more precepts I want to bring out, but at the plantation. So on my next break, I'll do the second one. So look out for that. Yeah, man. Stay sober-minded. And now is not the time to just be going out your way to draw attention to yourself, all right? Keep your head down, lock in on the mission. Okay, so with that being said, I want to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and were well. I want to say shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters pursuing this truth and sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. And for the men that are teaching, attention going to be drawn to us regardless. We've hazarded our, you know what comes with this. We hazard our lives. So, but for those that are just listeners and learners, man, don't be out there drawing attention to yourself. Just do it. Walk uprightly. Pay attention. You know, and pray to the Lord. Keep your medicine strong. All right, shalom.